Hello, everyone. I wasn't going to do a video. This is just going to be a real short thing, but I've been sitting here watching Blue Bloods with, oh God, what is this? Tom Selleck and the whole gang. And his son is a police officer, and he had saved a little baby out of a fire, but he didn't get credit for it. And I'm sitting here thinking, when you ain't got nobody to talk, well, I got my daughter and stuff right there, and we did talk today. She took me to the doctor's office, and we talked on the phone a little bit ago. And my son called me to find out how I was doing. But I was sitting here, when you're sitting here, nothing else. I got TV to watch and stuff like that, and don't much feel really like going into depth and doing a video for the channel. But I was sitting here thinking when he said that, and I had an experience sort of like that. Wasn't running into a burning building and save somebody's life, but um, I had traveled, had went with a friend, and we went to. I, I'm not sure whether it was New York or Chicago, someplace like that, and we had stopped by to eat at a restaurant, and we had just, well, we're sitting in there talking and eating, and there's a little family on the across the room from where we were sitting. It was a mother and two little kids, and we're just sitting there minding our own business, and uh, one of the little girls, I don't know, she must have been about 5, started choking. Well, we were on our way out to go pay for our meal, and she was standing, and they were in a booth, and she was standing up, uh, and she's choking, and mother just sitting there looking at her. She didn't know what to do, and she's choking, and finally I get her down out. I walk right over to her, and I get her down out of there, and I did the Heimlich maneuver on her, and of course in the meantime I'm telling everybody, I said, call an ambulance. And everybody just stands around there, looks, don't pay no attention whatsoever to what's going on. And I hollered to somebody. I hollered, call an ambulance. And so I did the Heimlich maneuver on her a couple of times, and the stuff flew out of her mouth, and it was a gob of gum that big that she'd chewed. She must have put a whole pack in her, bubble gum on top of that. And it got caught in her throat. No, that's what I mean. When I talk about being aware, what's going on around you? I mean, when I say be aware, there's a lot of things that goes on around us that nobody pays one bit of attention to. It's just like, oh, that's part of the woodwork or something like that. But I got that out, and I told her mother, I said, when the ambulance gets here, make sure they check her ribs and stuff like that. That I didn't crack a rib or something. But anyway, and then walked, and the people that I was with, went on out. Well, then I walked on out and didn't say bye, hi, or nothing. I just walked on out. So, and then from time to time that'll pop up in my mind, and I wonder if that mother or if that little girl ever thinks about me and what I stepped up and what I did, and no recognition, no nothing. I recognize it, and I'm sure the little girl recognizes it, but would she remember? I don't know. And it doesn't really matter, but it does in a sense, because when you step out of your box, out of your comfort zone, to do something for somebody else and like save their life or something like that, you would tend to remember that. And but that, yeah, watching that show, and a lot of times I watch different shows that'll bring memories back of things that went on in my life and stuff. And I just thought that was kind of neat that I was able to do that. That I stepped up to the plate. Nobody else was doing anything. And a lot of people don't want to get involved for the simple fact that I could have cracked her ribs or something like that. But anyway, that's what I was thinking about. And so, can any of you people out there, any one of you at all, think of something that you did way back when, and you're sitting and thinking about it today, and wonder, I wonder if all them people ever remember that, if whatever that you had done, if anybody ever thinks about it and thank God that that person was there. So if you did, if you've had an experience where you've done something for somebody else and you don't know whether or not that they ever think about it or anything, put it in your comments. I sure would appreciate it. But like I said, this is not going to be too long. But sitting here thinking, and most of the time, what can you do to think? Now I could get up at the computer and do some stuff, but by the time I get out of this chair, I got my leg propped up right now on a cushion. Get that all down and get the computer up and running, and sit at the office chair. Make sure I don't bump my leg because they say it's doing good and I don't want to break it open or anything like that. They glued it shut, by the way. And you can see where the glue has dried and some of it is starting to peel off. So I'm careful with it that I don't pull anything loose or anything. But yeah, it's going to be a while. Like I said, I went to the doctor's this morning. My daughter had to help me out because I'd just taken my medicine and I was getting all woozy and everything. So helped me out and get in the car, and off we went. But anyway, remember, a merry heart doeth good like medicine. But a broken spirit will dry up your bones, and you can't get motivated to do anything, and you think, well, why do I have to do anything anyway? Me and my daughter was talking about that today and talking about God, the Creator. And I know there's a lot of things out there that said people say, well, God wanted a family, so He created us. And you wonder, well, what am I even doing here? Why am I here? Why do I have to pay to live and to stay alive? That's just like today, the parents um, bring their kids into the world, and it's their job to take care of them until they get to a certain age, and then they can go do things on their own, but their parents are still there to help them out if they need it, help. So we were talking about that. Why were we put here to just have to turn around once we get to a certain age? We have to find a job. We have to work ourselves to death all of our life. And then we have to worry about where we're going to live. We even have to buy water. We have to pay for water. We have to pay for fruits and vegetables that grow freely out there. That shouldn't our father be taking care of all of that? And do we make our kids go out and work to feed them, to make? Well, you got to go out and you got to work, you know, so that you can eat at my table. You got to give me money so I can feed you. No, we parents don't do that. So why would the Creator do that? So it's got me thinking. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a Creator. There is a Creator. But why are we here? Why were we brought here? And if the Creator loves us so much, then won't He take care of us? Jesus did say not to worry and be anxious for nothing, and do not store up for yourselves. I don't know, but we were talking about that. So there's all these people out here that having a hard time working at jobs and trying to pay their rent and trying to make sure they eat and pay their electric bill and so they can have lights in their house and pay for heat. And why is that our job? We didn't ask to be put here on this earth. Do any of you out there ever recall asking and saying, "Hey, mighty Creator, hey, why don't you make me and put me out down there?" Did I didn't. I didn't ask to be put here. Did any of you ask to be put here? I know a lot of you are going to say this or say that, and that's okay. You can say what you need to say. Don't mean I'm going to answer you, but you can say what you need to say. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to explore and still find out. Okay, there has to be a way. And there He did give us a way, though. Remember I said, create the life you desire with our thinking, with our belief, and with our words. So if we don't want to work, if we got hobbies and if we got talent that we do well at, and somebody wants to pay us to do that, then fine. But that's not work to us if we love doing it. But if we have to get out there and slave ourselves and work ourselves half to death to just even have a roof over our head, see, it's hard. It's hard to understand that. It's hard for a lot of people to understand that, especially the people that don't know how to think critically or have common sense. Now, I have common sense, and I can think critically, but I still can't come up with an answer why we have to work ourselves to death if we belong to the Creator and the Creator put us here so He could have a family. Family should take care of family, don't you think? But I don't know. That's all I know about that, as Forrest Gump would say. Life is like a box of chocolates. So, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right. But if you believe you can, then take that first step to get you to the many different steps that you may have to take to get to where you want to get to. So you all have a great day, have a great evening, and sleep well. Sweet dreams.